Mississippi Delta. I dream of a world where my boys won't be stained by toxic masculinity that turns little boys into killers. I dream of a world where they don't have to go to elementary school or middle school or high school or college and wonder if someone's going to kill them or their friends because of this unfettered access to killing machines. Our dreams start with our families, but they don't end there. Dr. King's did. He had a dream for our nation. He envisioned a beloved community that was balanced, justice, and love. And to have one without the other is to have neither. In this beloved community, we all understand our mutuality, and we fully understand that an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. As an attempt to live into this vision, Together for Hope continues to fight against poverty that Dr. King started with the Poor People's Campaign. We at Together for Hope are a rural development coalition focused on the 301 counties of persistent rural poverty in America. And we have locations from the Dakotas down here to the Delta, and from Arizona all the way over to Appalachia. Our four main priorities of hope are education, health, nutrition, housing and environment, and social enterprise. And we view poverty as a 21st century injustice. And poverty is not a mistake in our system. It is the result of our economic system that continues to favor rich over poor through policies that systematically give more money to the wealthy by destroying the social safety net that keeps those who experience poverty alive. By stealing from the poor and not paying a living wage and giving to the rich through exorbitant tax breaks, our nation violates the law of God and what Christians call the good news or the gospel. We face the greatest income inequality that our nation has ever seen, while our holy scriptures tell us, behold, the wages of the laborers who work your fields, who has been defrauded by you, cries out, and the cries of the harvesters has reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. Due to this grinding poverty that robs children of their future and adults of their dignity, Together for Hope is partnered with Out Hunger to ride out poverty and simultaneously create space for racial healing and racial justice. And to that end, we created Civil Rides. Today we ride our bicycles from this sacred space down into the Mississippi Delta, and we'll continue riding for 3 days until we reach the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum in Jackson. On our ride, we'll go through Marks, Mississippi, where Dr. King was inspired to start the Poor People's Campaign. We'll go through Tutwiler, Mississippi, where the funeral home was that prepared Emmett Till's body for burial after it was retrieved from the Tallahatchie River. We'll go through Drew, Mississippi, where Emmett Till was finally killed after his body was brutally beaten. And then to Cleveland, Mississippi, where Delta State University will host us as a sponsor. Tomorrow we'll wake up in Cleveland and we'll ride to Louisville, Mississippi, the home place of Fannie Lou Hamer. And then to Philip, Mississippi, just 7 miles from Money, Mississippi, where Emmett Till was abducted. And then finally to Winona for the evening, where Fannie Lou Hamer was nearly beat to death in a jail cell, a beating that plagued her physical body for the rest of her life. And then on Friday, we'll begin our last leg of the ride in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, the hometown of both Oprah Winfrey and James Meredith. And as we come into Jackson, we'll complete 200 miles to raise awareness for rural poverty in America. And we do this in an attempt to follow the footsteps of Dr. King and to fight for economic justice in our country. Dr. King and all who followed him changed the United States of America, but we know that we have such a long way to go before we start to actualize Dr. King's dream. Young, unarmed black men are still being gunned down in the streets, and those who kill them do so with impunity. All the while, the vast majority of white people in America do nothing. And even worse, they blame these young men for their own deaths. Shouldn't have been selling single cigarettes. Shouldn't have walked that way. Shouldn't have talked that way. Shouldn't have what? Been black in America? No, we have a long way to go. Longer than the 200 miles between Memphis and Jackson. Longer than the remainder of any presidential term. Maybe even longer than some of our lives. But we can get there. We can get to Jackson. We can get to another president. We can get to another America where the value of a human being's life is based on the fact that he or she is a human being. We can get there.
Yeah.
We can get there, but it's time to do some peddling. It's time to take some votes. It's time to do some work. And I'm here to tell you today that we are ready. We are ready to ride, we are ready to work, and we're ready to vote. Work together for hope.
Right.
Now let this prayer for our civil riders send them off in safety and bless this holy moment in Memphis. Will you bow with me in prayer? May your guiding and inspiring spirit go with us, God. As our wheels turn, let them turn the heart of America towards the most vulnerable, those who experience poverty, many of whom are children and seniors. Let this turn our hearts towards justice for everybody. Help us as we leave here. Help us to bring honor to Dr. King's life and legacy as we seek to transform the landscape of rural America. We give you thanks, Lord, for all who've gathered here today at the Lorraine Motel. We thank you for who they are, the families they represent, the organizations with whom they identify, and the people they are trying to be in the world. We see here this morning religious diversity and ethnic diversity and racial diversity, and we give thanks to you for all that you've done by making us so diverse. Thank you, Lord. Help us celebrate this diversity that comes from you. Help us love one another until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. Help us understand that when just one of us hurts, we all hurt. And when one of us rejoices, we all rejoice. We seek your transformation in our own lives, and we ask that you use us to transform our nation today, tomorrow, and for the rest of our lives. Amen.
Amen. Woo!